Hi, welcome to another astrology web clip where we're going to continue our study of astrology. Today I thought I would look at another technique, one that I use often. When I write my newsletter, I like to do not only the sun signs based in the asteroids, but I also like to do something rich, like really delineate either the axis of the suns, midpoints of the sun moon, or Aries point. So today what I thought I would do is the axis of the sun moon, but not use the midpoints today. We're just going to stay with the actual asteroids. I think it'll be less frustrating and more easily understood by those people who maybe are new to our asteroid energies. So I want to show a little bit here what we're doing. Okay, so what I did was I put everything on a dial. Okay, and you see that the arrow points to the sun. And I thought it was pretty amazing because the ascendant is right there. You can see at the top of the column here in the middle that you can see that we're pulling in a lot of things by just pulling that axis in. So you stay very close in order, but you can play in that degree. So we're working with 6 degrees, 46 minutes of Virgo as our new moon position with an ascendant. And this will pretty much be not real different for predominantly the whole East Coast. So we're looking at a 7 degree, 7 minutes of Virgo. I want to point out that 7 degrees, 30 minutes of Virgo would be in the Aries point. So I want to throw all this together and I want to use this like an Aries point. And I want to study the axis itself, not the midpoints. We'll get that. That'll be another video. That's another technique I like to write about. But in this technique, in order to help people learn and understand the asteroids better, I just want to look at the single asteroids that fall in the axis. And once again, for our visual aid, the axis would also be, in addition, from 0 straight down. It's actually 29. You see the little opening at the very top here. There's an opening of that red line, if you can see it. And then it goes down to the bottom. So let's put some math on this. We're going to be looking on a dial. We're going to be using the points 29 of mutable to almost 1 of cardinal. We're going to be using 21 cardinal to about 22 and a half of cardinal. So that's over here, okay, the opposite of the sun. The sun, as you can see on the other side of that dial, okay, right across, is, as I said before, 6 degrees, 46 minutes. So anywhere between 6 and 7.5, and then the bottom would be 14 to 15.5 of fixed. So just want to go through that for the people who are working with dials. If you want to know more about a dial, please check the dial web clip and also subsequent articles that are on divinationcounselingservice.org. I'm big on the dial, so there's a lot of information on that website. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the 4 arms, which we have already seen in the visual aid, and we're going to talk about what falls there. Now, I am only going to do so many. There can be, there's 20-some thousand asteroids, so we could be here picking this apart for a long time, but I'm going to go with things that are more obvious. I also looked for repeated theme, which is one of the tools I use as an astrologer. For example, in this axis, we're looking at atropos for endings and de-arrest for stopping. There's got to be a theme there. We're also looking at Podolaris, which is a health asteroid, as well as a scapula. So health factors could be playing a part in this new moon. It could be on a personal level in your own personal life, somebody you know, but it could also play a part in what you're going to hear in the press and the media, so there could be some health matters, but it's also the health of things. Maybe you want to stop something because of the health of it. Okay. Tantalus also runs here for temptations. Also Elisa. Elisa is self-destructive. So we're tempted to be self-destructive. Maybe that's what we want to stop. We want to stop our temptation to be self-destructive. But Minerva and Mars also fall here. Minerva's strategy and planning. Mars is impulse, aggression. Remember that Mars is sometimes associated with war. So that anger that could happen. When you're looking at Zeus, the asteroid, and Volcano, the asteroid, which both react like trans-Neptunian. So Zeus is about leadership and inspiration and seeds that are being planted. And leadership meaning not crone, authority leadership, but leadership in terms of invigorating, inspiring. More like, I want to think of personal trainers, coaches. They're more Zeus-like. Volcanus is that force that sometimes it's inner, that I have to do this. We have to do this. Zeus is also guns. And I don't need to remind anybody that we've been having a lot of mass shootings lately. And today is August 7th. We're looking at August 30th. I think we can do the math on that one. I do. I think that we're going to be talking about guns in the media. I think no matter how many people want to turn away, there's a lot of people that want to stop things related to guns. And there's a lot of anger and aggression, Mars. I think it's funny because Mars also represents young men who've been perpetrators of these shootings. I'm not a political, well, I am very political. This is not a political platform, however. This is not a forum where I want us to get into politics. I only want to state facts for the purpose of teaching. Okay? So I'm just telling you what's here. Zeus is here. Volcano is there. They're in the axis. You are going to hear about them. So is Tantalus an ornamenta? And, you know, here you have to look at, are we tempted to do ornamental things? We're looking at health. And we're knowing we have to stop these bad temptations. Could it be because we're not happy with the way things look? Ornamenta is about looks. It's jewelry. It's about, but you know, when you look at this with Apollo, and Apollo means that things are going slow, and there could be anger because of slowness with Mars and Apollo running together, but you also get this, they're going so slow, you get this sense of crisis. Is the crisis because we're going slow, or is the crisis the result of the fact that we're going slow? I think the new moon is asking us to look at this, whether it be in our personal lives or in the outer world. These are the things that are going to come to our attention. This is so much fun because you take each one of these words and it represents a concept. And then you put it and attach it with another word. And you begin to build structures. And you start to think about things like somebody was tempted by an inspiration of another to be angry, to want to stop something. It does sound like the headlines, though, doesn't it? No matter how much I don't like to do that with these particular articles, whenever I look at the Aries point, what's going on in the world politically is going to show up. And I do want to point out that it is not just limited to this country, that every country is going through a little of this. I'm going to say I think a lot of countries are angry. A lot of people are angry. And you think of Volcano, and you think of that pressure. Pressure. It's like a tea kettle. That's what we have. Apollonia tells you there's more than one, and I thought that was really interesting because even when you look at shootings, 3 in a week, 2 in 24 hours, you're looking at a lot of situations, but it also tells us that there's more than one problem, more than one death, more than one shooter, more than one. But the other thing that this talks about is business, and we can look at things like the stock market. So when you say that there's stoppages going on, when things are tempted to be affected by Zeus, the energies, and they have to follow through on things. There has to be follow through. Doesn't that all make sense to everything we're going through? What we're going through is not about just studying it. It's supposed to be about evolving as the result of it. So let's use the Minerva as strategy and planning to put an end to or stop temptation. Stop that things are getting worse, the Alesia, the self-destruction. Yes, remember that we have Alesia, we have self-destruction in there. We have to stop the self-destruction. How is Mars, our impulse, self-destructive? We have to look at that, not just on a global level, but in our hearts. And I'm going to leave you with that. It's taken me a few takes to get it this far. At this point, I just want to say that if you have any questions, or you will have any questions about astrology or tarot, and I will be doing a series of tarot web clips at some point in the future, but please feel free to contact me at divinationcounselingservice.org. And the word divination, it spells out exactly as it sounds. So once again, divinationcounselingservice.org. Thank you for checking me out. Thank you for listening. And happy astrology.